Welcome to the Love Sessions with Lilly and Nori. In this session, Lilly and I actually were having a conversation and tumbled into a beautiful discussion on grief. And we hope that you enjoy this. Yeah, so we're just talking about grief because I had that experience this morning where my friend called to tell me, he's not going to make it and he's going home with hospice. But truth be told, Lil, grief has been on my mind a lot, not just personally, but so many people are talking about their grief. So many references are made on social media to grief. And of course, grief just seems to sting so much more around the holiday season.
That is so true. And going towards the end of the year and starting a new year, we're also grieving this past year, the year that we're closing.
I agree.
All the hopes and dreams and the plans and the goals and all the things that we started out so hopeful in the beginning and kind of didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying that we're not rolling those over into the next year, because absolutely 100% refresh them, look at them again and see if this is still what you want. But there is that grief. There is that sense of letting go. For people, the goals that they didn't achieve, the things that didn't happen. And it's a very real pain that sometimes people try to kind of ignore.
Yeah. I think, and the ignoring is short-lived. It seems to me it's always going to come back until you finally, go face to face, heart to heart with it. And, whatever that integration is, that conscious integration that happens, it has to happen, before it goes away. When I went through my chosen 3-month sabbatical, I didn't know that so much grief was going to come up, but in really wanting to start fresh, and being willing to fully empty my cup, there was a lot of grief that I had to let go of, and some of it was, dating back to, I don't know, 2009, and some of the grief was ancestral that I always knew that I would kind of have to look at but never did. And I think there comes that moment where it doesn't go away until we really sit down and have tea with it,
Yeah, and that is so true. We're both coaches, we're both healers. We both support and guide people through letting go. And that's a big phrase that gets thrown around a lot. Like, just let it go, release, move on, refresh, all of that, which is, it's all great and it's healthy. But a lot of times the component of grief that is part of that gets missed. In letting go, you have to take that time to grieve, to mourn what you're letting go, even if it was, a painful relationship or, a toxic behavior that you're leaving behind. But it was very much a part of your life, and it was connected to a lot of other things. Maybe it was a way that you coped with wounds from your childhood or something. And now you're letting it go. There's going to be some grief there. There's going to be a lot of emotions that come up, and those should be honored.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And honestly, we both know a lot of coaches. Out of all of the coaches I know, I think that you are so special and so just incredibly understanding and compassionate in the arena of grief. The times that I've talked with you about grief, I've never felt dismissed, or I mean, I've always felt seen and heard, and oftentimes I was surprised, by the one or two word thing that you said to me that was just so poignant and so uh facilitating just a little tiny bit of relief right there. You're so good at that.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. You just fluffed my heart.
Yeah, I love that. You got feathers in your heart? I got
I do. I got wings in my heart, girl.
love those feathers. I like it.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. But
Yeah.
yes, I think a lot of times people don't even realize that they're grieving. And because, we, as a society, we kind of think, okay, we grieve a loss of a person, of
Mhm.
a relative, a loved one, even a pet. I just went through that
Yeah.
this year, and it knocked me to my knees.
Oh.
Um, but that's kind of accepted, like, oh, okay. But even then, it's almost like you get a time limit, like,
Mm.
with work, you get a certain amount of time, or you get a time limit, and then other people are kind of like, well, are you going to move on? Like, are you still talking about that? So can you imagine people that are going through a grief for other things that are not people, that are not humans? And how do
Yeah.
they explain that to someone else?
Absolutely. Absolutely. People would not be able to offer them, the understanding and the comfort, or just even the acknowledgement. I mean, when my grief ran, air quotes, too long over a relationship, it went into the 3 and 4 year mark, maybe even the 5 year mark. Um, all of my friends, air quotes, that were part of that relationship, they threw down the time limit bell. They hit the time limit bell for me. And of course that changed the nature of our friendship, but so too, if it's like you said, a behavior that you're letting go of. I mean, and I see it poignantly when I work with people with food because, food means so much to us more than just sustenance and the grief of letting go of that. I mean, it took me years and a whole lot of grief to finally get to where I am with coffee. And I was thinking yesterday when, I wasn't really whipped around by having to have a cup of coffee in the morning. I remember the mornings when I would be angry if I couldn't have coffee, so there was a deep connection to coffee and the grief was really big. But try to tell that to somebody, and they're going to, oh, come on, have a cup of tea, exactly what you don't want to hear. So I love that you bring that up, Lil, that it's not just people, it's not just relationships, it's not just our beloved pets, which to me, that's the hardest,
Yeah.
personally, but yeah. But it just seems like it's so prevalent right now, and I know that's kind of how we opened, but it just seems that there's a lot of death. There's a lot of obituaries. There's a lot of saying goodbye. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people unaliving themselves. And so I think our topic is really an important one, to begin our renewal. Wait, love session. What do we call it? Love session renew? No, you had a
Reboot?
great you had a great word for it.
Did I?
You
Ooh,
did. Love session reloaded, or I don't know. You had
I
one
think
of
it
your
was reboot, maybe, because
reboot is good. Yeah.
yeah,
So
that.
I think grief is a really important topic to begin with. And I'm talking with a friend who it's, challenging my coping, my coaching. It's challenging my coaching skills. And I had to actually put my coaching skills down and just move in to pure compassion because her daughter hung herself and she can't even find a minute, Lil, where she can take a breath, where there's a momentary relief of the pain. And I mean, the only thing that you have to offer somebody is just love and compassion and being there, letting them know I'm here 24/7. My phone rings 24/7 and the ringer's on for you.
Yeah. It's just accepting, honoring their pain, honoring where they are and just kind of, there's nothing you can say. There are no words. There are absolutely no words, no matter how eloquent you can be, they just aren't. All you can do is be there. Be that rock for them. Be that soft place for them. Let them know, I see you. I see you. I have no idea what you're going through.
Yes.
But I am here for you.
Exactly.
I know that you're going through pain, and that's it. I'm here for you, whatever you need.
Absolutely. And you're right, because I tried, Lily. I wrote down, words like, how about that? No, no, that, no. And I finally, got to a page of scribble out words and I'm like, there's no words. There's absolutely nothing that I could say that would even be remotely meaningful. It's a feeling. It's not a word. It's not something to say. It's just that expression. It's that energetic, that unconditional, energetic force field that, we can wrap them in just so hopefully, they know that there is love for them. And yeah.
Yeah. And just the acceptance of the pain, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not, being in pain, whether it's physical or emotional or mental, it's not sexy. It's not fashionable. It's not cool. So
No.
people in pain tend to get pushed to the side.
Yes.
And sort of like, oh, okay, I care about you. I love you. But, like when you're better, then, when you're ready to come back, I'm here. And,
Exactly.
and it's kind of, because it makes us uncomfortable.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, there's a little, she wants to join in. Pixie wants to join in.
It's a cat sighting. Come here, sweetie. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. But hang on. What about the friends, air quotes again, that ghost you because you're in so much pain?
I think that says a lot about them.
Yeah.
And, how their tolerance level and their comfort level. And it's sad because it happens a lot, but some people just are uncomfortable in the presence of someone else's pain. And they might feel like, oh, if it were me, I'd handle it this way. Because don't we all do that, Like, oh, if that were me, I would have done this or I would have said that. So they might think like, oh, well, if that were me, I would have gotten over it already.
Right.
Or, just not talk about it so much or whatever. And it just comes down to they can't handle it.
Yes.
They're just not in that place. And it's sort of, it's not their fault. It's not, I don't believe people would do that, to be mean or whatever. It's just, they're not capable.
Yes. And I'm so glad you're bringing that up because when you're in, the depth, the searing pain of grief, I think it's hard not to take it personally, when somebody ghosts you. But it's so true, Lil. What you're saying is so absolutely true because I've seen it 100 times as a nurse in the intensive care unit. Family members talking about that one family member who's never been here. They haven't even come to visit. They have not even come to visit, and the person was dying. And there is always that one person or two that they're just so uncomfortable with the pain of the grief or the pain of somebody else's grief that they can't be there. They just can't show up. It's not that they don't love the person, and it's not that, like you said, they're trying to be mean, and it's really not intentional. It's just a function of their coping mechanism, that doesn't really flow great, for the relationship. Pixie
Yeah.
agrees.
Yeah, it truly is. And it's sad. But it is what it is. And when you're the one going through the grief and, the loss and all of the emotions and the roller coaster that brings you to, you're not in a position to step out and go, oh, that person is uncomfortable by my grief, so let me go make them comfortable. No, it's just like, all right, whoever can be here for me, great. And who can't, all right.
Yes.
Go be over there where you're comfortable, because you have to take care of yourself in that moment. You have to surround yourself with things and people who comfort you and make you feel better, even for those few minutes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what you say is true. A lot of relationships just fall apart because there's no way to come back when someone just disappears on you, like completely poof, disappears, like done.
That's the
How do you come back from that?
You can't come back from that. And if I were one of those people who couldn't be there, I would at least hope that I could send a text and say, I love you. I wish I had words. I wish I could be there for you, but I'm just so uncomfortable with grief in general, or whatever it is. At least let that person know why you're not there. I would rather receive that text or that letter or that little card in the mail, than to have somebody that I really love just disappear.
Absolutely. And this seems like a great, like, what is it? A PSA, public service. Listen to people that are listening and maybe seeing themselves. You might be the one that's uncomfortable. You might be the one that feels that, somebody should get over whatever it is, the loss, the breakup, the whatever it is, and might just feel like, oh, that, I just can't deal with that person right now. I can't deal with the conversations or anything like that. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. Don't disappear.
Yes.
You don't have to engage in long conversations. You don't have to be that person that, shows up at 3:00 in the morning with pizza and ice cream. You don't have to be that person, but maybe just like, shoot a text. It doesn't even have to be words.
Yeah.
A little emoji once in a while, just like a little heart, like, hey, I'm thinking about you. So you don't have to disappear.
Absolutely.
There are things that you can do to stay connected to the person while they're going through this.
Yes.
And not destroy the relationship.
Yeah, and chances are they might not want more than an emoji.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to have that conversation. I know there was a lady, a friend on the internet who lost her son, and I didn't know what to say, but Lil, I sent her a white heart every week, and then after about 6 months, I sent it every 2 weeks, and then every 3, and then I continued to send her a white heart every month for 2 years. And she finally texted me back once and said, I can't even tell you how much those little hearts meant to me during the days that I couldn't even take a breath. See, we never even know how much we really are making a difference with the tiniest little, what does it take to, send a heart,
Right.
the tiniest little gesture of caring,
Right. So most of the time when we're grieving, we probably aren't up for long conversations.
Seriously.
Or even company, like just leave me alone. But it's nice to know that somebody's thinking about you, that somebody hasn't forgotten you,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you still exist for this person. So
Yes.
yeah, for those listening, don't disappear, don't ghost.
Mm,
Just, go as far as it's comfortable for you
mm,
without completely disconnecting.
And take care of you.
Yes, always, always, always take care of you. That's the most important thing. That is our message here over and over again. Always take care of you.
Yeah,
If you're taking care of yourself, you'll find that you're taking care of others as well.
absolutely. What a beautiful note to end on. I love that, Lil. Thank you so much, Lil.
Thank you, Nori. I love
Beautiful.
chatting with you always.
Me too, you. Thanks everybody for being here. Stay tuned for our next convo right here on the Love Sessions. Bye, Lil.
Bye, Nori.